Hey friends, Andy here. How you doing? Good to see you. I'm going to retire by age 40. And in case you're counting, that's in 3 years. Can I do that? Why do I want to do that? Well, first, I'm going to show you exactly how I plan to do that. And second, but why? Well, for whatever reason, the idea of working a job that I'm not super crazy about for 40 plus years.
Did you see the memo about this?
To finally retire at 60 or 65, to finally do the things I wanted to do in the last 10 to 15 years of my life, when I might have less energy and might be more tired, just doesn't appeal to me. Now, there's nothing wrong with the standard path that people take. People can enjoy their jobs and enjoy the journey and still do fun stuff along the way, but I want all the freedom and options that come along with early retirement. And the really cool thing is I'm kind of doing this whole early retirement thing late. You can do this way faster than me if you start sooner than I did. I didn't really get serious about my finances until age 30 and didn't really get serious about investing until about 6 years ago. So if you're in your 20s, you can actually jumpstart this whole process way faster than old Andy here. So let's talk about all that. But first, let's not retire from YouTube though. You've still got a job to do, so if you would smash that like button for me, I would really appreciate it. It feels great. There's no reason to not do it. So do it. And while you're down there contemplating retirement and earning money and retiring early, you should check out the link to join Sleep Money Club in the description. Sleep Money Club is my community where a bunch of like-minded people all gather together to talk about wealth building and investing and crypto passive income. We've got all that and more going on in there. I've partnered with my good friend Colin, the Decade Investor. Me and Colin are in there every day, chatting with folks, answering questions, sharing strategies and ideas. We also do exclusive live streams, and we discuss a lot of things in there first before we talk about them on our channels. So if all that sounds interesting, consider joining. All right, enough of all that stuff. So what do I mean by retire? Do I really mean I'm going to sit around and do nothing all day or just watch TV shows at age 40? Well, no, that's not what I mean by that. I just mean I have the option to not work if I don't want to. Retirement for me is just a number in an account. It's not an age. It's not what I do all day. It's just the option to work or not if I choose to. So once I am retired, will I keep working? Yeah, probably, but just doing stuff I want to do. Maybe it's not even like work. Maybe it's just hobbies, and maybe some of those hobbies happen to still make me some money. I don't know. It's probably going to be things like what I'm doing here, making YouTube videos. Okay, so then why do I want to retire early? Well, the first question is, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't you want to retire early? If you have the option to not work if you don't want to, wouldn't you say yes to that? I know I would, and I am. That's what this video is. Ultimately, it comes down to one thing for me. I like having options. I don't like being locked into anything. I don't like having rules that define me and my life. I like being able to choose things, having that freedom and having those options. And maybe you're the same way. Maybe you want freedom of time, where you can choose to spend your time working on things, doing hobbies, traveling, or doing whatever you want. I just really like the idea that if one day I decide I don't want to work for money anymore, then I don't have to. And all that sounds fine and dandy, Andy, but is it actually possible? Can you do this? How do you retire early? What does that look like? Well, the traditional path to retirement is you work a 9-to-5 job. You have one source of income. You put money away in your 401k. Maybe you have a secondary retirement or investment account. You invest 1, 5, or 10% each year of your income into those accounts. You do that for 35 to 45 years. And at that point, you finally leave whatever the job is you're working at the time. You start cashing out that retirement money into your personal checking or whatever, and you live off of it for your remaining days on this planet. And again, maybe you love your 9-to-5, and maybe you don't want to invest more than 5 or whatever percent. There's no one set path for any person. Plus, I know that there's obligations and people have families, and there's all kinds of reasons why people might not explore other options. However, if you're like me, you like looking into what the alternatives are, and you like kind of forging your own path through life. And so in my case, I just wanted something else. So I've kind of been building a plan that is my plan for early retirement. And what that looks like for me is I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. I got kind of pulled off the path for a while and kind of did the 9-to-5 thing for a while before I finally remembered I don't want to be doing this. So I've returned to my roots of being an entrepreneur, and I like working for myself. I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to make my own rules, my own terms. I want to do my own thing.
Yeah. If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great.
And And on top of that, I don't want to stick to just that one, two, that's two, that's not one, that one source of income. I want to build as many robust income streams as I possibly can. I love things like emergency funds, but I think cash flow is ultimately one of the most powerful things in your finances. If you can lose entire income streams and still be very a-okay, if emergencies do pop up and you have plenty of cash coming in, well, then it's all gravy, baby. So as many income streams as I can, while also keeping living expenses as low as I can. Not to the point where we're not enjoying life or doing fun things or taking trips or buying things, but like 99% of the stuff we buy is just wasted money. Think back on the past 10 years of things you bought and how many of those things are like super memorable or really terribly important to you or what have you.
Behold, my stuff.
A lot of stuff we buy, we just don't need to buy it. And also we get trapped in this whole idea of as we get paid more money, we do more extravagant things. We just continue scaling our lifestyle with our income. So in our case, if we can slide that income higher and higher and just continue increasing how much we're earning, but keep all of our expenses, the mortgage, the cars, the groceries, normal stuff as low as we can, while still enjoying ourselves along the way, then we can invest way more than the average person. If the average person is investing 5% of their income or maybe 10%,
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
I want to be at 30 or 50 or 70% of our income being invested. And by doing that, I hit my investment goals way quicker than most people would. And ultimately, when I hit my final retirement number, the number I need to see of my total investments, then at that point, work is truly optional. I can continue to do stuff if I want to, but I do not have to. And all that hinges on this one concept. And that concept is called the 4% rule. There's this beautiful thing called the 4% rule, and maybe you've never heard of it. Maybe you have, but let me explain to you what it is, because it is quite wonderful. So because of the historic returns of the stock market, in the case of the S&P 500, which has a historic return of 10.5%, or if you're really conservative, you can just call it an 8% year-over-year return. There's models that show that you can withdraw from your accounts 4% of your total investments every year, and even when you have years that are below the 8% and years when there's above, you're never going to run out of money. So how does that work? Well, it looks like this. If over the long haul, over decades, if you have just dead simple, boring S&P 500 index funds, that's where all your money is, and every year you're pulling out 4%, but over the long haul, it's actually returning 8%. That means you're taking money out, but your total investments are still actually growing. So you can take a perpetual salary for the rest of your life without ever having to work again. But the catch is you have to stay within that 4%, or some people actually follow a 3% rule to be extra conservative. And this is just talking about dead simple index funds, which I am a big fan of, but you know, I'm huge into crypto, and there are other places you can put your money to that can accelerate these goals. So let's do some basic math. Well, let's say for the rest of my life, I want to live on a salary of $100,000 per year. Well, if I reverse engineer that and say, what is $100,000 4% of? We come up with the number of $2.5 million. In fact, let me show you that here. I've got a percentage calculator. What is 4% of $2.5 million? Calculate, that comes out to $100,000 per year. That means if I'm able to get an investment account or my total investments totaling $2.5 million, every single year for the rest of my life, I can withdraw 4% from it, take out $100,000, and all those accounts will still continue to grow and I'll never run out of money. So for me, my number, our retirement number is $2.5 million. When we hit that, we will never need to work ever again. Now, of course, I'm an ambitious person. I'm always out there wanting to do new stuff and fun stuff and build things. So in the end, I will probably hit a number that's higher than that, but that is at least my baseline number. I know if I hit that, if I manage to actually get to that goal, then I can rest easy for the rest of my life. So the next question you might be asking is that actually achievable? $2.5 million sounds like a lot of money. Maybe some of you are like, that's nothing, that's easy, I got this. But other people might be watching and thinking $2.5 million is just like way out there, outlandish, or maybe it's something they think they will achieve, but when they are 60. Maybe it's really tough to think about hitting that in your 30s or in your 40s. So the question is, how do you do that, and how am I doing that? So the number one thing you're going to do is you're going to calculate your baseline. Again, my number in my head is $2.5 million invested. There are lots of people out there who do early retirement and they do it on $1 million or even less than $1 million. They live very frugally. Some people, do tiny houses or live out in the desert or travel around. There's all kinds of different ways to do it, and there's all kinds of different numbers. Some people are perfectly happy earning $40,000 a year for the rest of their life off their retirement, and some people think $100,000 isn't enough. So your number is going to be personal and specific to you. Just like my number of 2.5 million is personal to me. I just like the 6-figure yearly salary number, and again, I will probably try to do much better than that, but at least I have a baseline. That's where you need to start. And again, how you calculate that is you decide how much you want to live on per year, you figure out what that is 4% of, and then you know what your final baseline total retirement number is. Now, the second way you do this is you just reduce your living expenses. The easiest way to free up money to invest into everything faster and more aggressively is to just not spend so dang much money every day. When you're spending less, you can invest more money. And that's goal number 3, which is to invest as much as you possibly can. So let me actually pull up a calculator here, an investment return calculator. Let's say we start with 0, and then let's say you're 20 and you want to retire by age 40, like me. And let's be conservative here and not use 10.5%, but let's use 8% as your annual return, which again, in my opinion, is being very conservative. But if you want to go with a dead simple index fund approach, this is a safe number to use. But again, if you have exposure to Bitcoin and other things, then this number changes pretty dramatically. So how much do we need to put in here per month? That would be $4,200. So if from age 20 until age 40, every single month, you invest $4,200 with an 8% return, you can hit $2.5 million invested, which again, after that point, you can then take a salary, an annual salary of $100,000 per year. And the cool thing is, as your investment continues to increase, your actual salary per year actually increases. Because remember, even though you're taking it 4% every year, it's still growing by 4% every year over the long term. And now maybe $4,200 per month sounds crazy, and maybe it is with where you're at currently, but that can change in a heartbeat. And also your number might not be 2.5 million. It might be 1.5. And also you have to account for the fact that you're not going to start at 100 miles per hour on day 1 at age 20. You might start much slower than that and then slide and scale your way up. Me personally, I was not investing nearly as much as I am now just a few short years ago. But as I make more money, I can invest more money. That's just how it works. So how do you accelerate this? How can you do $4,200 per month, or how can you get there faster, or how can you do these things and retire in just 10 years instead of 20 years from now? Well, number one is earn more money. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, get a raise, get a new job. Go get a higher salary. But honestly, one of the easiest things you can do, not easiest in terms of work, but easiest ways to augment that or add more money, is just to have some side hustles. Figure out ways to have as many income streams as you can to add to your bottom line number per year. And then also keeping your eye out for alternative investments. Again, one of my great accelerators in this whole investing game has been me jumping into crypto, primarily with my focus on Bitcoin, but now certainly with a big focus on my passive income projects. I think you should still have a diversified portfolio, but there are certainly areas where you can have exposure and could potentially accelerate your entire plan. So as I say in all my videos, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a, money professional. I'm just a guy on the internet. I'm just sharing my journey as I go through it with my kind of harebrained ideas as I come up with them. But given my current trajectory, and the fact that we've already achieved the status of multi-millionaire, within the next 3 years, if all things stay constant, we should be able to hit our $2.5 million total invested number in the very next few years, which means by age 40, I should be able to say, hey, work, take a hike. I'm not doing that anymore. Or I'll find something I love, like what I'm currently doing and recording right now, and keep doing this stuff. That's the beauty of figuring out your number and achieving it, is that you have the option to do whatever you want, basically. Am I off my rocker here? I mean, is this something that any of you are interested in? I would love to know it down in the comments if this is something that you're interested in, that you're on the journey to, or even what your numbers are. But really, the possibilities here are endless, especially once you start digging into how to make all this stuff work for you. I truly realized the power of investing that first day, that first moment when we became crypto millionaires. If you want to learn more about that, then watch this video right here. And watch this video if you're curious about how to get started with investing in crypto in the first place. Otherwise, wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.